Hello there, this is Dipti. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist at the Cotswold practice. So today's video is an interesting one. It's actually a one that's up for debate and discussion. So you're going to get involved. It's going to be an interactive one. Today's video is about expectations. So my dad used to say to me when I was growing up, Dipti, expect disappointment. And I was a bit like, what does he mean? That's quite negative. My dad wasn't a negative person, so I never really understood what he meant by those two words, expect disappointment. And it did confuse me for a long, long time. I was thinking, well, does he mean that the world is always going to be a negative place and therefore I'm always going to be disappointed by what the world gives me? Does it mean that I shouldn't expect anything from anybody because I'm always going to be let down by them? What does that even mean? And it really did confuse me for a long, long time. But actually, when he passed away and I had some time to reflect on those two words, which I did sit with those words and I was pondering them for a long time because I thought, well, my dad wasn't negative. He wasn't glass half empty as a person. He was generally jolly and positive, so he couldn't have meant it as a negative message. It must have been at some level an empowering message and an inspirational message to me because he was an inspirational figure in my life. So anyway, I sat with this concept, expect disappointment. And then I suddenly had a light bulb moment flickering off in my brain and I got it. And I thought, aha, that is what he meant. So I'm going to share that light bulb moment with you today. And hopefully we can turn this into a little discussion and see what you think. So if we have any expectations, perhaps of our relationships or our friendships, so those people in our lives, if we have expectations of experiences in our lives, so perhaps our career or even events that we go to, parties or conferences or shows. So anything that we kind of go and experience, if we have expectations of any interaction, a dinner party perhaps, or a birthday party, or even sitting around at the dinner table with your family, if we have expectations of what should be done, what shouldn't be done, and at some level, any of our expectations are not met or not fulfilled, then of course, by that same token, at some level, we may experience some form of disappointment or upset because it didn't go as we've planned in our mind. So that's actually quite an interesting concept, isn't it? If we have an expectation of anything and it doesn't go quite as planned, or that expectation isn't met at some level, then part of our mind may possibly decide that that didn't meet up to that expectation. Therefore, that must be bad, or it must not be as fulfilling. Does that make sense? So then that obviously begs the question of, well, to avoid the disappointment, what must we do? Must we stop expecting or lower our expectations, or not have any expectations at all? But I'm wondering whether that's actually even possible. So again, got me thinking, and I thought, well, maybe the answer really has to be that of course we have to have expectations of ourselves, expectations of those around us. For example, I expect, people I hang around with, my friends, my family, to have respect for me or to treat me like they would like to be treated. I expect to be treated courtesy and kindness, because that's what I do, and that's how I interact with my fellow friends and family and people I hang out with. I have expectations of, my clients, for example. We all have expectations, and I think that's okay to have them. But then the thing that becomes not okay is that if those expectations perhaps are not met, then I don't get crushed, or I don't get affected to the point where it's knocked me off my pedestal, or I feel that I've done something kind of wrong, for example. So it doesn't have an effect on my own self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth. So in a way, that is the skill, and the challenge is that it's okay probably to have expectations, but then when they don't go your way, or when they're not met on all levels, you're okay with that as well. So can there be a situation or a concept that we can start living by, that sure, we have expectations, but then we're not disappointed by them? Now, I wonder if that can be something that we can work towards. Another way of looking at it is perhaps don't have any expectations. Therefore, whatever you get is going to be a bonus. It's going to be a win-win situation. So there could be, that way of looking at it as well. But for me personally, I think I would find it difficult not to have any expectations of anything. So what I could start perhaps personally working towards is having expectations, but managing them appropriately. And then if things don't perhaps go the way I've planned them in my mind, to be able to reframe it very, very quickly, so I'm not going to be able to get crushed by those interactions not going so well. I'm still going to be okay. So it'd be really, really good if we could get a discussion going. So comment below, what do you think? That was the doorbell. I will be back. So that was quite interesting. So I'm making this video and then the doorbell rings. I did not expect that, but it's okay. I didn't let it crush me. I didn't start the video over. I'm just going to use it as part of my video, as an illustration, to say that actually things happen in life that we can't control. We can't control the externals. We don't know how people are going to, react to a situation. We don't know what opinions people are going to throw at us. We don't know what anybody's going to do or any event is going to turn out like. So in a way, we can't possibly predict those outcomes. So therefore, at some level, we've got to be able to work with those variables and introduce them into our life, and perhaps use them in a way that, like I've done just now, using the doorbell as an illustration to say, well, okay, I went off, answered the door, got my parcels, came back and resumed the video, and it's still all good. So we can start to use everything that happens in our world as perhaps ammunition to support ourselves, to be able to turn things around into growthful and meaningful and purposeful situations. So therefore we feel okay, constantly we feel okay. And it's all about returning to that sense of, I'm okay, I'm still, I'm centered, I'm solid, I'm balanced. Things might come in and might come out of my awareness, but it's all right. I'm still going to be responsible for keeping my own world together, my own mind together, my own body together. So I'm really taking responsibility and ownership for my mind, body and spirit, whatever happens outside. And that is what I expect of myself. So I guess, in a way, expectation is a good thing because it keeps you on top of you. And perhaps if I let myself down, I will be disappointed with myself. But in a way, that's useful as well, because if I'm disappointed with myself, it means that I'm not going to just coast along through life. I'm going to actually get up, move towards a situation, and continue learning, continue growing, and continue to improve. And that's what we can do with those feelings of disappointment. We can turn disappointment around. We can turn disappointment into a positive. If we're disappointed with something, it means it didn't go as planned, it didn't go quite right, but how can we make it better next time? Life is learning constantly, and we are the best students going through this life. And you know that if you continue to look at life through the eyes of a student, you will continue to learn, not just about life, but also about yourself. And that really is ultimately what we are here to do, I guess. So I expect that I will continue to learn. And if I'm disappointed, I will learn from that as well. So anyway, share your comments. I'd love to hear what you think, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.